All right, welcome back to another episode of the Kitchen Table Podcast where business gets done. I'm your host, Ken Baden, and today we have Marc Mawhinney from Natural. I hope I said that right, by the way. Did
You
I?
nailed it. You
All
got
right,
her.
nice, man. Marc, what's up, brother? From Natural Born Coaches, the podcast. He also has a Facebook group with 28,000 plus members. What's that group again, Marc?
It's called the coaching jungle
The
because
Coaching
it's a
Jungle.
jungle out there in the coaching world. So yeah, the coaching jungle.
It is definitely. If you know anything, well, everybody's a coach now. I'm joking,
Yeah.
but like it feels like it. So we'll get back to that. But Marc, how are you doing today? First of
I'm
all,
doing good. Yeah, thanks for the invite.
yeah, absolutely, man. And we found we have some mutual peers and friends. One in Ryan Stuman. Shout out the Stuminator, who's a coach of mine, which is I guess is why you probably had him on your show. And I actually have done some coaching as well. I had Blue Collar Ballers was a coaching group that we since changed to just more of an event focus. But we did that for just over a year where me, him, and Todd Price, we were the three coaches in that group. So had a little coaching group of my own. I have since I'll take a coaching client on. I haven't taken one on this year outside of Blue Collar Ballers. I've been focusing on consulting clients,
Mm.
which is more specific on the business end, very hyper niche down to if I can help you instill one of the three main verticals that I'm best at, then I will. Bigger ticket, just for my time with my current company, I still have my own remodeling business that is the focus. So that allows me to parallel just really effortlessly bring my team in, do something I know how to do. And I don't mean to say worth my time, but it's worth my time. If it's going to take my time
Mm.
away, it has to make sense. And so that's been good. But let's talk about you, man, not me. So, how'd you get into coaching coaches?
Yeah, the Cliffs Notes version. My past life, I was in real estate for about a decade and built up a big real estate business here in Canada. I had about 100 employees, agents, and employees, and everything was hockey stick growth. There's a Canadian term until it came crashing down, and I spent a couple of years, I say, in the wilderness, figuratively, and was helped back to my feet by several coaches and mentors, and that's when I really learned about coaching. So in 2014, when I was planning my next steps, I thought, geez, this coaching thing's really cool. I'd love to be doing this. You're not limited in your local sandbox, restricted. You can work by laptop with anyone around the world, and that's how I got started. And that was 11 plus years ago, and here we are today.
Do you still take coaching clients on yourself?
Yep. Yeah. So I have two parts of my business. I work solely with coaches. That's the people I help. So if anyone else gravitates into my world, I refer them off if they're not a coach to someone who can help them. The other part of my business, I do a lot of partnerships, like joint ventures and things with people who have an offer or service that applies to coaches. So that's another important part of my business there, partnerships.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so you're specifically focused again on, you know, working with or effectively coaching coaches. I mean, that's his best
For
way I can
lack of
put
a
it.
better term, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's what happened in the early days was I had no niche whatsoever. I'd say, hey, I want to help any entrepreneur, and I'd worked with a few. One was like a gym owner and things that were more local based, but I had two coaches that I was helping, and nothing against the other clients, but I had a lot of fun with those coaches, and it felt like a great fit. So I said, you know what, I'm going to plant the flag in the ground, focus solely on coaches. And like I said, even to this day, if anyone else reaches out to me, I'm like, and they're not a coach, I say, hey, look, I can't help you, but I'll connect you with Ken. He's someone who can help you or whatever. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah. 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 I love that, man. You really just focusing on where you're best of value and you enjoy doing. And that's precisely where I was like, you know what, man,
Yeah.
right now I don't have a ton of time, so I've got to maximize what I do. You know, the consulting angle, it was my oldest company, and it's just an easy, it's all in the same, stratosphere, right? Like, okay, well, I can help you do what I do if you do this, or this, and that's it. You know what I mean? And otherwise, I'm just not a good fit.
Yeah.
And we can bring my team in, and it requires about an hour a week for me, twice a week for 3 months. And that's it. And it's white labelable. It's here you go. If you have a solar company and you want to learn how to do insurance restoration roofing, that's a really easy transition that I've learned how to navigate well. I can help you. If you want to learn how to do retail roofing instead of insurance roofing, I can help you in the adverse as well. And that's it. You know what I mean? Like I do roofing,
Yeah.
pretty much it, man. And guess what? I've done all three of those things. So the transitions are simple and I've helped past clients do those things. So I really admire and appreciate why you would just sticking in that the substance to what you know and what you are more passionate about. I don't think a lot of people
Uh,
do that, man. I'm a
yeah.
coach.
Yeah, the challenge for coaches is they do all this certifications. They're spending hundreds of hours with buddy coaching with others in their certification group, and they think, oh yeah, once I'm out in the quote real world, I'll pay $15 for a GoDaddy to get a website, slap it up, and bang, clients will come rushing in. And it doesn't work like that, you know. But
No.
new coaches think they're going to spend 80% of their time coaching and maybe 20% on back end stuff, a little bit of marketing and so on. It's usually flipped, right? You're spending 80% of the time finding those clients, and you're lucky if you're spending 10 or 20% of the time coaching. So I really want to help those coaches because I went through those struggles early on in the first year where you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, and it can be very frustrating if you're working and you're not being compensated for it.
Mm, that's a great point, man. I mean, I even now, like we wrapped up with our last consulting client, and they've kind of fell in my lap as a byproduct of Blue Collar Ballers speaking event and coaching group. And if I hadn't have done all of those things and made no money doing that, but because I did those things, I got a client out of it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, but if you don't put in the work, you're not going to get it, man. They're not just going to come to you because they're like, who the hell are you? Right. I really want to talk about this idea of coaching anyhow, because like if you're listening to this right now, we're going on and on about coaching because you and I are both either been coaches or used coaches in the past and continue to use coaches or mentors in the past. And so we know the value. But if you're listening to this, you might be a little jaded because, dude, I get it. Everybody all of a sudden seems like they're a coach in the social media world these days. There's websites like Baller Busters that are out there trying to, you know, and I actually like that they're on top of these guys because some of them are just total phonies. But then they go after some other guys. And I'm like, come on, man, you're really reaching. I just don't think you like this guy. Patrick Bet David's not a phony. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
Andy Elliott, like him or hate him, dude, like he is who he is. And he doesn't really play on being anyone else. So I don't know. I kind of have an issue with that. But at any rate, there's a huge value in getting the right coach. But you do have to be careful. There is a lot of crap out there. But let's first talk about why somebody would pay to get a coach at all.
Well, a true story from my background when real estate was flying high and I was on a roll and thought I could do no wrong. One day, a coach popped into my real estate office to see me. My assistant said, Mark, someone's here to see you. And this would have been circa 2006 ish. And anyways, I went out, saw the guy, and he said he's a business coach. And I knew I was like other people back then. When you hear coach, you think of sports, right? Athletic stuff. And so I heard him out, and he had seen a lot of my signs around town. He saw that my team was growing, and he wanted to work with me as a business coach. And being young and dumb, I thought, oh, like, why do I need a coach? Look how great I'm doing, right? I was very much a lone wolf, like a lot of entrepreneurs that don't want to get help. They think they know it all.
Mm-hmm.
Flash forward past that, years later, I thought back, gee, maybe I should have brought him on board. Things may have ended. Now, I wouldn't be talking with you today, and I'd
Mm-hmm.
probably be miserable in real estate, but that's a good example of where pride and ego kept me from hiring him, and then it ended up probably cost me. Maybe it would have been a different result at the end of it. So I just think, especially with entrepreneurs, you no one to talk to. Like, you don't want to freak out your spouse, you can't talk to your employees about issues and your family members and so on. A coach is someone in your corner who's done what you want to do in a lot of cases, and I think that that's very valuable and important. So at any given time, I'm usually have at least a coach with helping me with something that's there, and I think it's very valuable.
I agree. And I think the biggest thing with coaching and mentorship, period, to distinguish between the two, for me, mentorship is always free. I have a couple
Yeah,
mentors, and I'm willing to mentor other young men, as it was done for me. The thing is, though, when it's a mentorship opportunity, these guys are other high achievers and big CEOs, and their time is so valuable that, first of all, they give you any of it. You're totally blessed, but you're only going to get, an hour here and there if you're
yeah,
really lucky. Whereas coaching, it's a paid for service. So, like the results in theory, I mean, you're paying for a service. So that time is paid for. Like, hey, man, I'm paying you to help me. And in this case, I think the real thing that I always say is coaching and mentorship for me took me from A to Z significantly faster than I would have otherwise got there by myself. Helps you avoid
yeah.
pitfalls, helps you avoid BS because they're paid to help you do that. Period. They're
Yeah,
paid to help you get there faster.
it's funny you mentioned the A to Z thing because when people ask me for my definition of coaching, I'm not like one of the snobby, a lot of times coaches with their noses in the air and stuff like that. I say it's very simple. It's helping a client get from point A to point B, point Z, with it and get a result. And a lot of times I've said that I probably do what I'm doing is coach salting, like it's combining coaching and consulting because I'm
Hmm.
not one to sit there and fire off 100 questions to the client and then just not say anything. If I feel like there's something I need to know, which is more of a consulting method, then I'll do that. And I don't get too hung up. But there are a lot of people in the coaching world, they're very snobby about it. And they would probably look at what I'm doing and think, oh, that's not pure coaching. That's blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, as long as the person gets a result, that's what I'm going for.
Right. And I also want to point out too and ask you this. We joked at the beginning, if you're listening to this, you say, okay, cool. I'd love to get a coach then. That's great. Where do I find one? And that's where I would say be very careful because, like you said, it's a jungle out there. You could easily spend money in the wrong
Oh,
place.
definitely.
And can you elaborate on that? Like, how can somebody avoid some of those pitfalls by taking advantage of, man, and spending
Yeah.
money with a coach that isn't qualified?
Well, you make a good point because there are some people who are excellent marketers. You'd swear what they have is incredible. When you look behind the curtain, there's nothing there. And I've heard that so many times. I've talked with someone, they're like, Mark, I'd love to work with you, but I just spent 10K earlier this year on someone and just there was nothing there. I know it sounds a little bit woo woo. I think the gut test is something that's important. That if there's something that they're saying that's not quite adding up, you don't have a good feeling, then hold off. Referrals and asking people their personal who they've worked with. Hey, do you mind if I talk with a couple of your clients, or if you know people who've worked with them? That's important as well. Also, just doing due diligence. The problem with COVID, especially 2020, like you mentioned, every Tom, Dick, or Harry became a coach. Now, a lot of them are now doing other stuff too, but there's still a lot of bad apples that are in there. And so, if someone just joined, became a coach a couple months ago, and they're saying they made millions of dollars, they're going to help you do the same. You got to use a little bit of common sense there as well. So that's a challenge. Unfortunately, is that you see the fancy marketers, the people who are great at selling the sizzle, but there's not really the stake behind it there. So I look at track record, testimonials, who they've worked with, and so on, and just take a bit of time before you jump in because it can be tough. And I buy coaching programs. I've hired, like I mentioned, hired coaches. When you meet someone for the first time on Zoom and within 10 minutes they're asking for $20,000 because they like to work with quote action takers, and then they try to guilt you for not taking action, hold back. You don't have to make a decision right away. You should probably
Right.
do a little bit of due diligence there.
Yeah, they try to close you on being a closer. You know what I mean? Like, well, if
Yeah.
you're not, this is why you're not, a
Yeah.
winner because you're not willing to pull the trigger there, Johnny. That's why
Yeah.
you're being held back in life. Give me 20
What
grand right now.
one of my past clients, I always ask people why they decide to work with me or where they found me. And she had a call with you. You would know. I won't say who it is, but you know this guy. And she had a call with someone on his team that and very high pressure. And she said, "Hey, I think it was 20K or something that for the program." And she said, "I got to talk with my husband. The spouse objection or whatever." And we talk about big purchases and the salesman said, like, hey, look, why don't you put on the credit card now? In 30 days time, you're gonna have way more. You'll make a lot from this. You can pay off the credit card. You have a whole pile of money. Then your husband will be thanking you. Just don't, talk to your husband now. And it got so bad she had to like basically hang up on the guy, and they're still trying to get in touch with her and stuff. And she said she went with me because I didn't pressure her. I said, hey, take a few days. When we talked about my group program she was in, I said, no pressure. If you think it's a fit, you have any questions, let me know. And she said that's why she actually went with me. She just felt like she had to get a shower after talking to the other guy.
Yeah. See, let that be a lesson to you, Mr. McCheesy sales guy. And that's not sales. That's used car sales stuff, which may be ironic if I'm right. But coaching, and now let's go from a different angle. If you want to be a coach, right? Like, what do you think qualifies one to be a quote unquote coach?
Well, I'll start off by saying I know I'll get some feathers ruffled, but you don't need certification. I don't have certification. I've never had anyone ask me, like, hey, Mark, I want to hire you, but send over your,
Right. What
certification.
makes your coaching
Yeah.
certification? Like, okay,
And there's good certifications, there's bad certifications or whatever, but it's, I think, overrated in terms of
right,
what I get if people spent thousands and thousands of dollars on it, they want it to be important.
right.
There's certain skills, obviously listening's important as a coach. And it's funny with my show where it's called Natural Born Coaches, a lot of coaches who I've interviewed have told me that they back in high school were the person that people would go to get advice, and they would be doing a lot of listening early in life, and now they're putting it to use as a coach there as well. So I also think you can't be a people pleaser, try to be their friend, because people aren't hiring you to be their buddy. And I feel like a lot of coaches hold back. They don't want to offend someone. They're not calling them out if they're not getting stuff done. So you really have to strip that away. You're not doing any favors to the client if you're not calling them out on stuff. And I've had clients like that just for whatever reason, they're not getting something done. If it's getting a webinar ready, whatever, launching a podcast, and I have to dig down and see what the real reason is there. Hey, what's going on here? And doesn't mean I'm cursing them out, making them feel bad, but you do have to take away the friend thing. You're not friends with your clients. You're hired to do a job.
Yeah, I went and got an NLP certification. So it's funny you were
Yeah.
saying, like, what do you get? I guess that's one thing you could have. Like, no, well, I'm an actual NLP certified coach, and
Mm.
how many times I've used that? Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not trying to be right now in my career an NLP coach, right? I got that.
Yeah.
I went and did that because I wanted to apply it to my current business for sales training. You know what I mean? And so that's cool, and it's benefited me on stages, and I think it'll benefit me in my career in the future because I will want to coach more. I enjoy doing that. I like doing that. I just don't have the time, and if I don't have the time, then I can't be taking people's money if I really don't have the time.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and that's why I stick with high ticket and consulting, because I'll take one or two guys on a quarter. I can allocate that time appropriately. I know exactly what we're going to do. I can use my team appropriately. And we know the results are there because, to your point, if you were to vet me, I'll just pass you on to guys that have used me in the past. Here, talk to this business. They went from solar to roofing. They went from insurance restoration roofing to retail. And oh, by the way, it's not easy, right? So, like, know that you're going to need additional capital than just paying me. So if you only have enough to pay me, you do not have enough to do this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just, it's just gotten such a bad rap, but it is such a big, helpful, amazing tool, man. Like, I'll probably never not have a coach. Like, I'm not paying anyone at the moment, but I do have my mentor still. But I spent $500,000 on coaching, and that was over the course of a year and some change. So I needed a year to kind of like stop smoking a little bit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I was smoldering a little. I went a little coach crazy. You mentioned Ryan. He tried to warn me, like, dude, calm down. You know what I mean? First, I went. I thought, to his credit, man, I had such a positive, enjoying my results, I suppose, or the networking I was getting, and I just like, well, I'm going to get this coach, that coach, YouTube coach,
Yeah.
this
It can be
NLP
a
coach.
dopamine hit. for sure. Like buying programs too. Everyone's been on
Yeah.
webinars. It sounds like it's great, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good. But yeah, I think it's key what you touched on too is with the people who have just enough to pay you, but not to make other investments in their business. It does no good for you to take on a client who's not going to get the results,
No.
and it can be easy to be like, well, I need to take this on or whatever. I got this coming up or whatever, and I'll make it work. But it doesn't help anybody. Even back in the day, when I was working with someone that wasn't given a full 100%, let's say they're given 75%. Well, I would take the approach, well, okay, I'll just put in 125% and that'll even it out and carry them across the finish line. And the coach said, I heard, gave a great metaphor. He said it's like a basketball court. As a coach, you can go to the middle court to meet the client, but you can't go all the way down to their end. Like they have to
Yeah.
make some efforts there to meet you halfway. And too many coaches are just horny for the sale, and
Yeah.
it doesn't work out well for anyone.
I agree, man. And I think my mistake was like, I realized like, oh, okay, you get a coach to get to your end result faster. So I wanted a coach for everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
YouTube, marketing, social media,
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And like that was just, and I wish I had a lot of that back. You know what I mean? I'll stick with one, I'll keep it going. Um, but, I will always, I think, because it's about personal and professional development and I want to continue to grow. And so I'll just make sure I'm smarter in the future. But,
yeah.
you know, what would you say to someone? Well, first of all, um, speaking along those lines in A to Z and getting there faster and guys just taking money or spending their money. Like if you don't, I guess maybe you might want to get a coach to make more money, but if you don't at least already have success enough to be able to afford a coach, I would not put myself in the position of like going broke on a coach.
No,
If
and
you
I
didn't
hear
pick
that.
up what we just said, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and if you're in a discovery call and you hear someone uses like needy language, like this has to work, I need to make this much in 30 days or whatever, that's probably not a good fit.
No.
And what you mentioned with bad coaches and bad programs, I've been the same boat. I've bought some, I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have that back. But I always try to flip it around and say, even if I hire a bad coach or purchase a bad program, I really learned something from it because I
Yeah.
learned what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
One of my first coaches I hired, our calls were very, I'm not a woo woo guy. Yeah, I read, like Think and Grow Rich was great. There's some woo woo stuff in there and things. He was very much a woo woo. So on our calls, he's having me do breath work and imagine that there's
Um,
tennis balls in my chest and they're shrinking down to the size of ping pong balls and all this. And after enough time, I'm like, hey, like, can we get into some a little bit more meaty stuff here or whatever?
right.
And he's like, well, no, let's just keep doing this or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm just not feeling this or whatever. But I learned from that because I don't want anyone to feel that way when they work with me. I want them to
Yeah.
feel like, hey, getting something from every call with it. So it was a plus. He was a bit of a dink too, to be honest. I reached out to him shortly after we stopped working together because he's in Canada as well. And I had a quick tax question about charging like HST, so tax here in Canada. And I had paid him a fair bit of money. He said, Mark, he said, I only answer questions for existing clients, basically piss off. Flash forward years later, he saw that I had the big Facebook group with Coaching Jungle and other stuff, and he wanted me to basically promote him, like do a JV in there and stuff. And I just kind of remember that it stuck. It kind of bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, buddy, I paid you a lot of money. I asked you a question, it would take 20 seconds. I wasn't picking your brain for hours. It was a real simple question, which is a reminder, to treat people right. Because if they
Yeah.
do something down the road, you're gonna maybe want something from them, and karma.
I'll give this one coach credit. Same thing, right? And I needed have a young man I wanted to hire as a sales rep, and he knows this guy, and he's oh man knows of him, big
Mm,
fan. And so I reached out to him. I said, hey, look, man, I got this kid wants to meet you. I don't know, whatever, right? Like maybe when next time I'm in Arizona. But look, I'm gonna tag you. I'm gonna tag him on
mm,
Instagram, and whatever. He answered me. He responded to the kid. No problem. You know what I mean? Like
mm.
so, and a lot of
Yeah.
people bust his chops, but it was actually something I wanted to bring up because this does drive me nuts. A lot of coaching, and look, you may do the same thing, and I'm just one thing that I find difficult and why I like consulting is there's a very clear, like, hey, here is the anticipated and expected result. Here's the path. A lot of the coaches I've spent money with, everything's so ambiguous. It's like, I'm going to be a
Yeah.
coach. And it's like, wire me over $100,000. And I'm like, where's do I got a contract or like, is
Yeah.
there anything we're supposed to like, what are the results we're talking about, man? Like, do we have any KPIs or deliverables or anything? Like, it's just, I'm going to coach you, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Trust me. Yeah.
and I've seen that a ton with some real high level guys, and it's like, what do you make of that? I mean, is it just like that's just the industry, or I mean, do you do
Yeah.
deliverables? Do you do expectations? I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah, we have a roadmap with my process. It's not just, hey, trust me, and then it's willy-nilly or loosey-goosey, you could say. I want to make sure that people are hitting certain things. So, for example, if I'm helping them with their Facebook group is something I often help because I've built up a good size group that's generating good amount of revenue. I want to know, okay, where do we want to be in terms of members and size of the group after month one, month two, month three, and so on. Another thing, daily emails. That's something I've been big on. Ben Settle got me into those back in. I started emailing my list in 2016. Haven't missed a day since. So if I'm helping someone with those emails, I'm on their email list to make sure they are actually sending them out, giving them feedback on those emails, and just being there in their corner. Too many coaches, and you've heard this being in the industries you're in, and me back in real estate times, is they have commission breath, right? It's all about the next sale. They get that client, and then they're all going off
Mhm.
for the next one, the next sale or whatever, and then they forget about the one that they just sold, and they're not going to get any repeat business, any referrals from that, and it's a lot. We've all heard the stats how much harder it is to get a new client versus existing clients.
So, if you're listening to this and you're in coaching, first of all, you really should probably join the group. I didn't even realize it, man. But yeah, I mean, I still technically, uh, I only do it, here and there, but I have done it. I do it, and I will continue to do it. So honestly, I probably will be joining your group if that's
Yeah, pop in.
something you
Love to
pop
have you.
into. Yeah, man.
Thecoachingjungle.com.
The coaching jungle. So if you're a coach and you want to jump in, you'll see me in there. I still have a lot to learn. As I said, my first couple years of that was just recently with Ryan, actually. But I enjoy it a lot. I am an NLP certified coach. So look, I got the plaque on my wall. It's real deal. I just haven't used it yet. I love NLP too, man. I just haven't used it. But if you're a coach and you want to utilize your services, where can they find you?
Yeah, so there's a group we mentioned, thecoachingjungle.com. My central hub is naturalborncoaches.com. We've covered pretty much every topic for coaches, almost 1,000 episodes released. Would love to have you on, so we'll set that up if you want to come
Yeah,
on as a
man. I was
guest
just gonna
too.
say, dude, I would
Yeah,
love to come on. I
yeah,
would
we'll
love to
we'll
come
get
on.
that set up. But it's been running since November of 2014, and
Oh yeah,
it
brother.
it is a play on natural born killers. That's
I
if
was gonna
any.
ask that, but right on.
Well, really quick, I won't bore you with all the details, but basically, when I was trying to come up with the name of the podcast and stuff, I went through billboards. I went through the top 100 movies, and this was 2014, inserting my keywords coach, coaches, coaching. And I got through, went with music first, billboard, and just nothing was working. Went from 2014 back to 1990. I had new coaches on the block. I used to have that domain, which is cringy, newcoachesontheblock.com. So I got done music, then I went to movies and started in 2014, inserting the keyword in all those top movies. And I got down to 1994 or 1995 or whatever for Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers. And I was like, Natural Born Coaches. And then you have that 30 seconds where you go to GoDaddy and you punch it into this. Oh, God, I hope it's available.
Yeah,
Luckily, it was. And yeah, so that's how I came up with the name of the show, the business, and so on.
you're right, dude. Because there's nothing worse than or it comes back and it's like .net. Oh,
Yeah,
damn it.
it makes it look like it's available, but there's a broker that's in there, and
Right,
then it's going
right.
to
It's
cost you
available
tens
for
of.
$10. That's the broker, and then they want a
Yeah,
$500,000 or whatever.
yeah, it's crazy. Like there's been I'll punch in different domains that I think, oh, no one's ever grabbed this because this really unique name that's taken. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, jeez.
Well, that's dope, man. That's awesome. And I would love to come on, man. I think that'd be super cool. I actually haven't gotten to come on in that capacity. That's a really, I'd be like the only, I've been on a few, I've been on Andy's. Anyhow,
Oh,
it'd be
cool.
really cool to come on in that
Yeah,
capacity, man. I would love that. So we'll have to get that scheduled. So I can't wait to do that, brother. I'm looking forward to it. In fact,
awesome.
OJ just popped in the room, man. We're talking about live still on air, but we're going to have to be on the Natural Born Coaches podcast, especially now that we know where the name came from. So that's even
Yeah,
better.
they're the secret sauce. Yeah.
So look, first of all, catch me and Mark in the Coaching Jungle Facebook group if you're a coach. Otherwise, you won't be in there. And if you are a coach and you're looking for help or you want to be a coach, I would imagine, right? If you're interested,
Yeah.
will you take clients on that want to get into coaching?
Yeah, aspiring coaches, and same with
Okay.
the group. They don't have to be a coach right now. Sometimes they're interested in it. They're exploring. We've got some people
Okay,
in
right
there
on.
that, yeah, that aren't coaches. They own maybe a Facebook ads agency. They're in there, whatever. But yeah, it's
Well, yeah.
95% coaches.
Well, that's going to open up some floodgates because there's a lot of people want to be coaches. But look,
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. And I'm teasing, but if you really want to be a coach, and this is just my 2 cents, but like, what would I pay you for? That's just all I'm going to say. Like, what is it like for me? What thing have you done? Like I'm an NLP certified coach, so I can say like, hey, I went through 50 hours of this psychobabble learning how to do all, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or really for consulting, well, I have done this and scaled to this point within my business, and I've also taken this type of business to this, and I've taken this type of business to this, and oh, by the way, I've scaled sales teams and created them across 8 years of the last 8 years of my professional existence into a 40% close rate. Whatever, all the metrics and data is all there. You should be able to get that from any coach that you are looking to get in your circle. But if you want to be a coach, what is it that I would pay you for? Like, what have you achieved? What have you done? A big thing for me, Mark, is the exit. Why I'm like kind of dialing back on the coaching thing and focusing on consulting. My plight ends in the exit, right?
Mm.
The private equity, that's been in my, it's already written, it's already happened, it's going to happen in a couple of years. I'm telling you that right now. And when it does, I will feel as though I've got that final resume piece to then go help just about anybody in roofing or business or entrepreneurship because I've done the thing. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
to me is the entrepreneur like, well, apex, right? Like build, scale, exit, and I'll have achieved that. Right now, I can still help you, but if you're looking to exit, I can help you get prepared for that. But like, I can't teach you what I haven't done. So I don't know. If you're looking to spend money or you're looking to be a coach, teach something that you've done or ask somebody for help on something that they've done and done well. Like my good friend Mark here, who's helped a ton of coaches crush it. So if you're looking to get better, go check Mark out. Check me out in the coaching jungle. Mark, I have something that I've been bringing back, and I love it.
Okay.
I do a final words of wisdom, so to speak, right? So think Marc Mawhinney gets Googled and this famous phrase always pops up, or this imparting wisdom that Mark's dropped on the world that he's known for. If you had any, you know, I don't know, any quote that you could be remembered for in the future, imparting words of wisdom, what would that be?
Well, this full disclosure, I didn't come up with, but a guest on my show in 2015 said it, and then he
Love
was
the
back on
honesty.
my show. Yeah, Bob Berg is a co-author of The Go-Giver. He wrote Endless Referrals, bunch of other great books. And he said to me back in 2015, he said, money is an echo of value, meaning that if you're putting enough value out there into the marketplace, it's going to come back. It'll be reflected in your bank account, in your wallet. So it sounds cruel to say if you're not where you want to be financially, that you're not putting value out there, but you're not putting enough value because it's just the law of the universe marketplace. If you're putting value out there, it's going to come back to you. You'll be compensated for it. So money is an echo of value, and that's Bob Berg's.
I love that. That's actually fire, man. Fantastic. Well, Mark, thank you so much for taking the time for us today. Check my guy Mark out, and we will see you soon in the. It's a jungle out there in the coaching jungle. We'll see you in the coaching jungle, and hopefully check out Natural Born Coaches podcast. Hey, look, check out the episode with me because I'm coming on soon. So, Mark, we'll see you soon. Thank you, brother, And
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
catch you on the next one, brother.